JK, it's already going, Lewis.
Ah!
Don't shriek like that. Not live.
I've got too many overlapped windows.
I know you're an overlapper.
I
Such
need
an
to
overlapper.
clean up my office. I need to clean up my
Clean up your
computer
life.
desktop. I need a lot of help.
I think we're live. And we're live. Final show of the year, Lewis. How does that make you feel?
Whoa!
We're each going to be a year older. I'll be 64, and you're going to be what? 81?
111.
111?
Closing in on Methuselah.
You must have the one ring. You look great for 111.
I do some great, my best work in caves.
You know what I'd love to see you do in 2023, Lewis, is grow your hair out. And I don't mean just the top and the sides. I mean like the goatee. Just grow it as long as you possibly can. In fact, maybe just do that. That would be a truly powerful addition to this show, I think. Like, imagine people show up and you've just got like a 2-foot long like goat beard.
I was accused of trying to look like King Tut for a while because I kind of had a
Yeah, I was getting pretty long.
back when I was real rock and roll band.
But the King Tut thing, I mean, you got to get it to be stiff. So did you put like mousse in it or anything so that it
Oh,
would
it's
just
naturally stiff.
Okay. Your hair follicles are just so stiff because you're just a real man.
Nothing but the coarsest, most resilient
Yeah.
chin hair
You
ever.
can just like use it to like Brillo pad your pans and stuff.
I often did.
But I'm serious. Just think about it. Maybe grow out the sides and the back like a mullet,
Dude,
and then the front.
if I let my hair grow out, you end up very quickly in Krusty the Clown territory.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same camp. My hair just grows outward.
Side to side. Wall to wall.
Shout out to Stimmy. Oh, Stimmy's here. Dipsy Doo says, "Hey y'all." Oh, he says you don't look a year over 102, Lewis. I think that's true.
Thank you for that.
He moisturizes. We got Pat Frazier here. Yeah, Lewis, grow about your beard and braid it, then change your name to Gimli. And my axe. You guys are the same height.
Coming up on the same width, too.
That actually would be a great dynamic that we could have. You could be like the short, stout, gruff guy, and then me, I'm like the tall, elegant, handsome elf. That would be a really great dynamic we could have off each other, don't you think?
Yeah, that sounds great. I love this new direction.
We could change the name of the Dwarf Cast, make it all about you. Let's see here. We got Dipsy Doo. He said, "What'd you get for Christmas?" Oh man, here you go. Here it is. My it's a photo mug. I'm officially a dad. It's pictures of our Disney World trip. And if you're wondering why the photos are so blurry, it's not your screen. It's this mug. I was just telling Lewis, my wife got me this mug, and she thought it would be fun to put all these like pictures all over it, which is a good idea. But the mug printing technology, it's not there yet. Not there yet. Like if you don't have a big image, then you can't really see any detail. Like once the images get small, the printers aren't good enough to print detail at this size. So all it just looks like is a bunch of blurry images. You can barely see like what's going on here. There's my this is literally my Christmas gift. This is pretty much all I got. But you know what? It's kind of all I really would want because for the stuff that we want, Lewis, your wife's not going to know that stuff. She's not going to buy you that stuff.
Yeah, she doesn't know which color Tesla to get you.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean it's a stumbling point. You're like, oh well, I didn't know whether to go with the charcoal or the deep blue. I didn't get anything. Sorry.
Yeah. That's exactly my problem. Oh, you know what? I forgot the tweet list.
I know.
And
I'm
you let
sitting
me
here
forget.
waiting very patiently, just
It's out.
waiting and waiting.
It's out.
What'd you get for Christmas? A late tweet.
All right. Should we? I got that tweet going. Are you ready to get this
Actually,
get this thing rolling?
Be a tardy tweet, wouldn't it?
Do you? Let me know if there's any typos because as a
I'm still
verified
not
Twitter
seeing
user,
it.
I can very easily edit that.
There we
Lewis.
go. Oh yeah. Let's see.
Oh yeah. Let me know. Look how fast he does it.
Well, I mean, I would get rid of the comma after movies. Right? The serial comma. The Associated Press does not
come
honor
on.
the serial comma. Let's see it real time. Get rid of the serial comma.
It doesn't like the commas before an and.
That's it's Associated Press style.
I didn't realize
Chicago Manual of Style would say, yes, put it in there. But
I didn't realize that.
Oxford comma.
I prefer having a comma before my ands for an enumerated list like that.
Do you?
Check it out now, Lewis.
Let's see if it's changed.
Does it do it in real time?
I haven't seen it change yet.
Okay, you might need to
refresh it.
Well, are you using the web?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably need to refresh it.
It's still there.
Just for you.
Still there.
No.
Wait. There's a new version of this tweet.
There you go.
See the latest tweet.
You want to see the latest tweet?
Wow, comma free.
Real-time tweets.
Which one do I quote tweet?
Whichever one you want. You could do the new Chicago journalism one, whichever one. Is that what you said? I have no idea what you just said.
Associated Press style is
Associated Press style.
No Oxford comma. All right.
Get rid of that Oxford comma. It's gone. I don't even like Oxford. Okay, are we ready to go?
Second.
Yep. What a show we have for you guys, my friends. Last show of the year, 2022, in the rear view. Lewis, I'm literally just sitting here waiting for you. Should I just rest my eyes here?
That's okay. Okay. Go for it. The tweet has been released.
Okay. Let's get this thing rolling. Do I have my stuff up here? Well, I was waiting for you for so long.
So much bravado. Excuse me. Bravado.
I'm full of bravado
oh my
today.
God.
Man,
I need a new brain, man.
Edit that statement. Let's see here. Can we get you?
Maybe if I had a few shots of Brondo, it would help.
It's got what plants crave. Oh man, let's see. All right, we gotta get you that Neuralink for Christmas next year, Lewis. Think how powerful you're gonna be next year once we get you that Neuralink. I mean, sure you'll accidentally pee your pants every time the microwave gets turned on, but
chew my hand off like a experiment monkey. Ugh. Terrible.
Yeah, you're not getting that thing in my brain.
I don't like hearing that stuff, man.
Yeah, there's just no amount of money that you could pay me to get that thing installed in my brain. I mean, someone wants to install a computer chip in your brain? Not a chance, man. Not a chance. Have you ever used a piece of software before? Like, you're going to put a piece of software in my brain? I don't think so. Not going to happen. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. Let's go ahead and cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, hello. Oh, Mrs. D. Very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year to you. Oh, yes, I had a wonderful holiday. Oh, really? Oh, yes. I hung some ornaments on my body and let LK take them off. Gross. I'm not even sure what that means, honestly. But it sounds like some sick, twisted game that I don't want to hear any more about. If you don't mind, Mrs. D, let's go ahead and get this show rolling because they're here for the facts. They're not here for all this pointless banter. So let's get things rolling, and we will get this show moving in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to Colecast, the best 30-minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Elijah. Join me today. He's committed to doubling down on riding room discipline in 2023. Purchasing several thicker horse crops, training 2 new canine dogs, and taking other measures to ensure riders are well motivated. He's the managing editor of Cult Back. Lewis Wallace is here. How you like that radio announcing?
That's fantastic.
And
now modulation of the voice. I love it.
Top 40.
It's very fantastic.
You can do it right there. How's it going, Lewis?
Great. How are you doing?
Like we haven't already been talking for 45 minutes.
Oh, the pre-show.
If only you guys knew. We do like an entire show before we do the show. And we always try to keep it, short, but it's
Play a couple of games of mental chess.
Oh yeah. And it was a tie today, but we like
a draw is what we call it.
Oh, that's right. And we do a little mental what's the word for a little scrimmage? A little mental I can't think of it. Should I just sit here and keep trying to think of it, or should we just move on? let's just move on because we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And this is going to be some light Apple news. We've got our picks for the 5 most exciting products coming in 2023. Apple products, did I say that? And you know what? If you're not wanting to spend the big bucks on an Apple Watch Ultra, I've got the perfect solution for you. It's way cheaper, and I think you're going to like what I have to show you. So stay tuned for that. And big story this week. The biggest story of the week, actually, is this thread on Reddit where someone was, I kid you not, complaining about how 4K is pointless on iPhones. I swear this guy must be a show listener. Like, no one has ever talked about this before we did in the last couple of weeks.
Is it you secretly?
No, it's not my account. I just saw this yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. It has like almost 3,000 upvotes, which is the highest I've ever seen on the Apple subreddit. And these people are all complaining about how you basically can't do anything with 4K content on your iPhone. And I was like, this is mind-blowing. I cannot believe this is happening. And they didn't even talk about Apple TV Plus.
Write the piece. If only you'd written the post, you could drop a link in there and get 10,000 upvotes.
I know.
Oh, my God. And now it's going to be like, oh, yeah.
This guy's copying.
Somebody saw something on Reddit.
Well, you know what? We are documented. It is. We released the show. So
nobody takes time to dig into the documentation.
I know. But if we have to go to court, when my high-powered legal team sues, we can prove that we were first on this story. No one was even talking about this before we did. But the angle I took was just even a little bit different than this. I mean, they were talking about 4K on Macs. We'll get into all this stuff. But truly now, you'll see from this story, truly 4K is pointless, completely pointless. Like, there's almost no way to watch 4K content that you use your iPhone to record. Like, even if you have it stored on your Mac, you still can't even AirPlay it unless you jump through a bunch of hoops. I mean, it is truly mind-boggling that no one is talking about this because it is such a huge scam. All right, enough preamble. Let me see here. Before we jump in here, Lewis, I want to take a moment and thank Rocket Money for supporting this episode. Lewis, I want you to say goodbye to last year's outdated, disorganized methods of managing your money. That napkin pencil method you're using, I have a better way.
Yeah, probably. I would say that I can definitely have my financial situation improved. My record keeping and everything. Yeah. Yes.
The inflow. Well, say hello to Rocket Money, the better way to hack your finances in 2023, Lewis. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions and monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've forgotten about, like that streaming service you bought to watch just one show, or that free trial you never used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones that you don't want. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. Simply find the subscription that you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. That's how easy it is. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. Stop throwing your money away, Lewis. Stop it, Lewis. I care too much about you to let you do this. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/cultcast. That's rocketmoney.com/cultcast. rocketmoney.com/cultcast. Get your finances under control in 2023. And, I had a story, I think we talked about this before. I was looking through my banking stuff a while ago. This is probably like months ago. And I noticed, several of my subscriptions have, almost doubled their price I'm sure they emailed me about it at some point, but I get 150 emails a day. So I didn't see it. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shoot, for months they've been billing me, almost double what I was paying before, man. You got to keep an eye on these things. And I don't think there's an easier way to do it than Rocket Money.
It's totally true.
All right, let's see here. Let's just dive right in, Lewis. Let's talk about 2023. I don't even want to hear any words uttered about 2022 at this point. 2022 is dead to me.
Such a great year.
So let's move on past 2022. We're talking about 2023 now. We've got a bunch of Apple products we're expecting. And let's just run through this list real fast.
Yeah, this is like the look ahead at the most high profile, most exciting products coming in 2023. The biggest one, the giant one that nobody knows when, where, how, what, etc. The giant question mark is the AR VR headset.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly we were gonna hear about it early in the year. Now it looks like it's more like later in the year. Anyway, this is all signs point to it actually being unveiled finally in 2023 sometime. Latest guess is probably sometime around or exactly at WWDC in June.
Can I just interject?
Yes.
I think the dark, voluminous cloud hanging over all this stuff, everything, is just all the supply chain issues that everyone has been having. It seems like they're easing up, but I feel like we're going to be feeling the effects of COVID for years to come. For years.
Oh,
and
man.
it's not even over yet. I mean,
it's taking off for real in China right now. So, in fact, we had an article this week about, if you want to buy an iPhone Pro, iPhone 14 Pro or Pro Max, do it now because, right now Apple doesn't even have any quite in stock, but other wireless carriers do, and Apple can deliver them within a week or so. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But, the point of the article was, look what's going on in China. If everybody's sick and they're having all these problems, do you think that's going to increase the ability to produce hundreds of thousands of iPhones? No, it's not.
Well, I think the good news from that situation, or maybe not the good news, but like the silver lining is that Apple is now focused on moving manufacturing out of China to a diverse set of places, right? Like India, Vietnam, the U.S. I mean, they're moving manufacturing back to Arizona. How crazy is that? So there's going to be a larger diversity of places that Apple can draw products from instead of just Foxconn in Shenzhen, right? So it's
iPhone City.
Yeah, iPhone City, China. So it would be good going in the next 2-3 years when they get all these factories up and running, that you'll have a diversity of regulations governing the places that can manufacture. Because I don't know how. I don't want to be controversial. I don't know how dangerous this new strain of COVID is. It seems like it's still not nearly as deadly as like the original COVID was. So they're locking people down in China, and a lot of people are getting it. But people getting it doesn't really mean anything to me. Like, people get the flu and the cold every year. Like, is this new strain killing people, or is it just making them slightly ill? Like, that's what I don't know.
Well, they're not locking. They've finally let off their lockdown. Okay. That's what's weird about it. They've reversed all that. For years they've had this zero COVID policy.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, it's manageable. We're gonna.
Okay. So people are getting it.
We're abandoning but so now they're they're having this huge surge, and they're for the first time letting people travel. And I saw a story just the other day, like 52% of the people flying into Italy from China, 52% tested positive for COVID.
Wow. Wow.
And so now countries are starting to put in place, hey, you got to pass a COVID. It's like, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Now you have to take a test and pass a test before you can fly from China to Italy.
Yeah.
Or, certain countries are starting to put these things in place. The U.S. is putting something in place, I think, early January, because, the thing that you're saying about the strain, it sounds like what I read just today, that Italy hasn't discovered any new variants in these people who
I don't even know what variant we're on anymore. I have
there's like a million of them,
and
like
they've all got
like,
now
and BB29.1.32, and it's like, yeah, it's not possible. It's all subvariants, I think, of Omicron, and it sounds like it's not worse, like not more deadly, but it's the problem is in China, what they're dealing with is that their vaccines maybe aren't as good as what we had. I don't know if that's true.
I don't even know if the tests work on the new strain. It seems like they don't even work.
Well, China also has this situation where, because they had such severe lockdowns for so long, so many people never got exposed to it in the first place. Right. So now it's like, well, the population is ripe.
Right.
So it's kind of, and I've seen some pretty horrifying videos. Reminds me of the
God,
very
why do you
beginning
do
of
that to
this.
yourself? Why do you watch
People
that
in
stuff?
people. Well, I'm interested. I'm interested in the what's going on. It's a weird disease, man.
Yeah,
Weird
well, that
disease.
much is true. All right, let's get back to top products, top expectations of 2023, Lewis. I would love to sit here and talk about COVID all day, but
Yeah, I'm sure you
let's get
would.
back
Yeah.
to talking to some Apple stuff because we got a whole list. And I think I forgot to mention we're doing our part 2 best of 2022 picks at the end of the show, and I want to leave time to actually do them this time.
Okay. So AR VR headset, will Apple change the game? Is this going to be the beginning of a new
Hmm.
face mounted computing
Hmm.
thing? I mean, probably as we've talked about this for ages, right? Because the rumors have been coming for so long. The reality is this is probably going to be a first step. It's probably not going to be, something that everybody picks up. It's not going to replace the iPhone, but eventually glasses type wearables with AR built in might actually be the next generation
Mhm.
of technology, or the future of computing.
I
We'll see.
don't think it's going to be the future, but I think it will be a cool accessory for people who want to have a mixed reality experience. But I think the majority of people are going to just stick with their phones. My prediction.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I can't honestly, as little as I care about virtual reality, I cannot wait to see what Apple comes up
Yeah,
with,
me too.
because I'm super curious if they can make it, somehow desirable.
I'm with you.
Okay. The other big thing that might be coming up soon is a Mac Pro with Apple Silicon inside. This is like the last remaining Apple computer that has not switched over to their own chips. Rumor is that that's coming this year. Probably once again, probably gonna be super expensive, super powerful. Nobody you know is gonna own one, but it'll be nice if they finally get that 2-year transition that's now gone past 2 years. If they can make that happen and get the high end one,
And
get it out
and
with
make
the
something
latest.
that has some longevity. I mean, the curse of the Mac Pro is that people spend $15,000 on it, and then I feel like a year and a half later, a MacBook Pro comes out and makes it obsolete in like 95% of the ways that it was special. It keeps happening. It's happened twice. So we'll see what happens with this thing. I'll certainly not be spending my money on this, but I know that there are some people who have special use cases for a Mac Pro and actually do need the power, the unique power that it offers.
Exactly. Not me either. But
Yeah,
anyway,
not my wallet.
and you won't believe this, but rumor is Apple's going to come out with an iPhone 15.
More fake news from Lewis. Lewis, do you have a source that you could document for this?
I should
Is this a
mention that
German
this.
prediction?
Yeah,
Exclusive German prediction?
I should mention that this roundup was written by Rajesh Pandey for us, and so he says, okay, iPhone 15 Pro, obviously iPhone 15 is coming, but so the great thing about the 15 Pro is supposedly it's going to get big changes. If you look like, if you have a 14, it looks like the 13, looks like the 12, right? 15 is supposed to look different. Could include titanium chassis with rounded edges, solid state volume power buttons, and probably the entire lineup's going to go USB-C instead of Lightning. Supposedly, much better telephoto camera might be in the Pro models with 5x zoom,
Yep.
which would be awesome. And the things that we've read is that Apple's going to continue to make the Pro like more Pro and the the non-Pro more standard, right?
Less Pro. Yeah.
I mean, that was the one thing about this year's lineup that I thought was pretty interesting. It was that the Pro actually seemed Pro again, as opposed to just the same as the other models.
Although, did they make the Pro more Pro, or they make the regular iPhone less Pro?
More regular.
Yeah, more regular. There you go. I think maybe a bit of both, but certainly more of the latter, I think. So it's also supposed to have a completely new body style. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Apple comes up with. We've heard rumors that it's going to have a titanium chassis with curved edges. They're going back to that titanium look. I can't see that I'm not excited.
Is there an
about
echo
that.
in here?
Huh?
Is there an echo?
I'm just rounding up what you just rounded up. The double roundup.
Did
Did you also
Let's
mention the
see.
solid state buttons, Lewis?
I did, sir.
You're kidding me.
I did mention them.
Okay, good. Then I won't mention that it will have solid state buttons again.
It's another case of vampire voice. It's like
Ooh,
you can't see myself in the mirror. You can't hear myself in your ears.
Okay, continue, please.
Let's see. This is a big, exciting thing, and I do mean big. 15-inch MacBook Air.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about this one. Big
Apple's
time.
never made its, I guess at this point, MacBook Air is the entry level. They haven't made it they've never made a big one like this, and the rumor is that it's going to come out this year, finally going to release the MacBook Air with the large screen. That'd be awesome because a lot of people like the big screen. A lot of people, the Air with just a couple of USB-C ports is completely fine. It's a completely fine design. They don't need like all the pro stuff. But they'd like a bigger screen. So I think this sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I don't like about the MacBook Air is its puny little Alex E. Heath size screen. I need something with some more manpower, if you know what I'm saying, Lewis.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
15 inches
serves,
is like
serves my needs fine, but then I rarely use it on its own like a laptop. So what
you
do
just
I
leave
know?
it plugged in all the time to a monitor.
So I could ruin my battery. yeah.
Right. Hey, there is an app I'm going to talk about that will help you save your battery. Although your battery is already toast, but if you're going to leave it plugged in all the time, I think I have a solution for you. For all of you,
A coconut battery?
I think that actually no, it's not coconut. Coconut lets you check on the health of your battery, right? That's an app that lets you check on the.
I just remember hearing about it. So what's the one you know?
Well, you're gonna have to wait until the
Oh.
what our 2022 picks.
Oh, it's gonna be a pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pick.
Oh, foreshadowing. We love foreshadowing.
Q&A says another week of Airphone repeating what Lewis just said. Never change, Airphone. I never will. I just want to make sure we hit the beats. Got to make sure we get all the right points out. And if Lewis says it, it doesn't have the same effect if I come in right immediately after and just repeat what he says. Actually, you know what? It's funny. One of my wife's greatest annoyances with me is that she'll say something to my kids, and then immediately right after I say the exact same thing. So we got to have it in here too. She's gonna think that's pretty funny.
So you're being a mina bird.
I'm backing you up.
I see.
Right?
A Greek chorus.
It's like you're the captain and I'm your number one. And we're talking to the crew, and it's like you say it, then I say it, right? So they know that it's in order. That's the way we work here.
So the big MacBook Air might be launching as early as spring 2023.
Oh,
so
man,
if you
that's
got your eyes
exciting.
set on one of those big giant screens on an affordable computer, here it comes.
All right.
Let's see. And the last thing on our list here is the Mac Mini refresh. And so the story with this is, entry level models.
I'm gonna need real words and real sentences from you.
Don't
Liz.
repeat what I just said.
Hold on, wait a second.
I got stuck reading there for a second. So in 2023, Apple could refresh the Mac Mini with an even more compact design, making it more mini, right? And even faster chips. Entry-level models should feature M2 chip, while top-end variant could get the M2 Pro chip for even better performance.
You could get a nice little combo there with an M2 Mac Mini Pro and the Apple Studio display. That could be a seriously nice setup.
Yeah, some alleged renders show it having a magnetic power cord like the M1 iMac. It's fine, I suppose. I'm in favor of the magnetic cords.
Yeah, I'm all about magnets. Everyone knows that.
So those are the top five. The other things I was thinking about after we published this, like, you know what? Isn't there supposed to be a new HomePod coming?
Well, that's the rumor. We don't have anything solid on when those might come out, but that would definitely be my product of the year if Apple released some new HomePods.
And it's good and
OG
affordable.
HomePods.
Yeah, and I read some speculation the other day. There might be a new version of AirPods Max.
Yeah, we've heard so little about a new version of AirPods Max. It wouldn't surprise me if we were a couple years away from that. They're already so good. Of course, the one big omission on the AirPods Max, well, I think there's two problems. There's the condensation issue, which is a real issue, and by that I mean people just wearing them normally throughout the day. And I think because the cups are metal, they radiate or they bring in the temperature of the external air to the inside of the headphones where you're wearing them against your warm ears, and then that makes condensation start gathering in there. And there's like thousands of pictures of people opening up their AirPods Max, and there's just water inside them.
Have you experienced that?
Oh yeah, mine has never really been that bad, but I've seen some examples of people who wear them for like a couple hours, and they have really sweaty ear holes. I guess maybe my ears just don't sweat that much.
Maybe Apple could come out with ear antiperspirant.
You just spray it
Just
on.
dab it in. Oh yeah, spray even better. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one issue. The other big issue, and this is way more of an issue than anything else, and really baffling to me that Apple made this design choice, is they created a pair of high fidelity headphones that don't use a high fidelity connection. That will go down as one of the biggest, strangest design blunders in Apple history, in my opinion. Like, why would you use Bluetooth, in my opinion, a low resolution connection, or maybe a medium resolution connection, to connect your high fidelity headphones to music and movies and audio and that type of thing? That
Yeah.
makes absolutely no sense to me.
So you want the jack? Is that
Well-
what you want, or do you want like aptX or something?
Yeah, like that would be nice. But even the jack,
Give us a jack.
even the jack that little adapter they included, even that doesn't bump it up to I think what it's capable of. So for me, like, it would need like a Wi-Fi connection, like give it AirPlay or something, right? It's like you have AirPlay, although AirPlay can be Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but have a Wi-Fi connection so you could really send a lot of data through. I don't know, man. I'm obviously not a headphone designer, but that was truly a baffling choice to me. And the AirPods Max are still great, but they don't live up to their potential for that singular reason. And that's why I think they're definitely not worth their $550 price. Like, they're probably maybe like $350, $400 in actual real value to me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably $350 in my opinion. Like, I would not spend more than $350 on them at this point, especially now with the Sonys out there. I always forget the name of the Sonys. Like, it's the WXM5s, the new ones. They're really lightweight, great noise canceling. They don't sound as good, and the noise canceling isn't nearly as good, but they're eons more comfortable in my opinion because they're lighter weight.
I never found that to be a problem when I was reviewing them, but
On the AirPods Max.
yeah, I thought they were pretty good. They're very well balanced on your head, very comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's true. But then you try the Sonys, and it's a night and day difference. Have you ever tried the Sonys?
Not the latest ones. I've tried.
Well, even the older
whatever
ones.
whatever was around back then. They're plastic, and they're lighter.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. It's kind of apples to oranges, right? Because like the AirPods Max have a much more premium build for sure. Anyway,
they feel very luxurious.
oh, they feel fantastic until you've worn them for 2 hours, and you're like, why is my neck pain? Why do I have advanced neck pain and a headache?
and puddly ears.
And my ears are puddles. Yeah, I feel like I'm swimming underwater. Let's see here. Well, are there any other products you wanted to mention, Lewis?
That's all we had in that roundup. I mean,
Okay.
there's surely there'll be other things, but those are the big ones.
Well, I got a hot tip for all of you.
Uh-oh.
If you want to get the Apple Watch, but you're like, I don't want to spend $800 on an Apple Watch. I'd rather spend like 50's my max, right? Can I get an Apple Watch for $50? Well, before that was laughable. You couldn't do it. But today, that's entirely possible. In fact, it's less than 50. How does $48 sound for this Apple Watch knockoff from Pebble?
Apple Watch Ultra knockoff.
Sorry, Apple Watch Ultra knockoff.
Don't bury the lead. It's an Apple Watch Ultra knockoff.
That's 100% true. Look at these cutting edge graphics on these screens, Lewis. It looks like it was pulled in from Microsoft Word clip art. So obviously, I'm kind of being a jokester here. Like, these terrible knockoffs are probably one of the worst things that you've ever seen on your wrist when it comes to like actual quality. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I was like, well, if you just want the look, the aesthetic of the watch on your wrist, and you want it to actually have time functionality, then this might be a viable choice for you, because the look is, I think, one of the most alluring attributes of the watch, right? It's the reason I got it. And if you want to just have the look, you can basically get this knockoff from Pebble for $50. Now, this company is not the Pebble from Fitbit. This is an Indian company called Pebble, and I guess it's the Pebble Cosmos Engage is the name of this sterling high quality watch.
Note, not sterling.
Not actual sterling.
Not actual sterling.
Asterisk, size 6 font, not actual sterling. And you can tell the screen. Oh, does it have a heart monitor in it? Oh my gosh, I think it does.
It's got some, it's weird. If you start looking at these, all kinds of Apple Watch knockoffs, I mean, they have features that are close, similar to what Apple Watch delivers.
Close is not the word I would use.
I mean, they're similar.
Well, Pebble says its new smartwatch is, quote, designed with perfection, a.k.a. we copied Apple's design perfectly. The company appears to mimic the Apple Watch Ultra in their Pebble, Cosmos, Engage. It's hard to assess functionality, of course, but it seems to fall short in some areas where the Apple Watch Ultra exceeds. Like the screen quality is not as good. It's an IPS display. Actually, I'm surprised it's IPS. IPS is like a nicer version of LCD. And it only has 600 nits of brightness instead of the Apple Watch Ultra's 2,000 nits of brightness. And it probably fails in every single other way. But if you want to have a look.
Heart rate monitoring? Listen to this. It's got an AI voice assistant.
I'm sure
it
probably
might
works.
be better. It might be better.
I was going to say that exact same thing. It actually might beat Siri.
We should have a Siri off with this thing.
Oh, man.
Blood oxygen level. Hey, that's a pretty recent addition to Apple Watch.
Yeah, until you're like, why does it say my blood oxygen level is 8%?
Zinc metal alloy, but aren't a lot of people allergic to zinc? I
haven't heard that. Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe it's copper.
God, it's just crazy to me that they can literally just rip off the design perfectly and sell their own version of it, even with the orange buttons. I bet this thing is such a piece of poop. It probably just like the orange button. It probably just starts painting, or the paint just starts chipping off like in the first week. This thing is gonna just fall apart, get all scratched up. But hey, you know what? $48. If you want a watch that looks like the Apple Watch Ultra that tells time, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, this actually might be a decent option for you. That's all I'm saying.
For crying out loud, $48. The band itself is worth that if it would fit in your Ultra.
Oh yeah,
because those bands cost $100.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure.
I know, like the Alpine Loop, I can kind of get why it's $100 because it has titanium loops in it and stuff. Although I still think it's drastically overpriced. But like this, I don't remember what band this is. This is the Scuba band. It doesn't seem like it's $100 worth of quality there, in my opinion. All right. Before we jump on into our picks of 2022, best of picks, I at least wanted to mention this story because this turned into a huge story on Reddit. Apple silently downgraded the default resolution of videos when viewed on Mac OS photos. Almost 3,000 upvotes. This is a story that I would say we broke. We talked about weeks ago. And no one was talking about this.
Broke but never wrote.
We broke it on the show. Broke it live on the show. And I probably should write this up, huh? God, this is just a sterling.
Do I need to send you a hand-engraved invitation?
No, what you need to do is send me a device that can stop time for about 4 hours. So I can click it, and I can just work, and no one will bother me. My kids won't need anything. I don't have to do anything else. That's actually what I need. Yeah, so these people are all complaining about 4K content on the iPhone. This guy says, before Mac OS Ventura, when viewing my iPhone videos in the Photos app on Mac OS, I would be able to watch them in 4K, just as you would expect. Now, this guy I think is actually wrong. I don't know what Mac this guy has, but your MacBook Pro, your MacBook Air, doesn't have a 4K display. So unless you were AirPlaying this video to your TV, this is actually not possible. And then he goes on to say, however, since Mac OS Ventura to save money on server costs, that's his opinion, which I think is actually true, Apple only downloads he uses a word I won't say, I'll say crummy, 720p or max 1080p version of those videos. Now, this is what I was complaining about, and this is what set me down the rabbit hole, is I was watching videos on my Apple TV 4K that were recorded in 4K, and they looked terrible. And so I went to look at the information for the video, and one of them said 720p, and I was like, how is this possible? I recorded this in 4K, and it's streaming it in 720p. Let's see here. He goes on to say, he's talking about his specific Mac. So he has a MacBook Pro with M1 Max. Okay, so you can't watch a 4K video on a display that's not 4K. I don't think he realizes his display isn't 4K. He has iCloud storage, 2 terabytes. He's saying he has a 1 gig internet speed. Yeah, I have all this stuff too. And then he goes on. This is the magic question right here. Why shoot in 4K with a 4K display? He doesn't have a 4K display. He doesn't realize that. Only to watch all my content in 720p. This does this not perfectly sum up my argument about why 4K on iPhone is a complete scam? There's no way for you to actually watch a 4K video. And he goes on to say what you have to do to watch a 4K video. And actually, some of this was news to me. There is no option in the settings or a proper button to watch 4K videos in the Photos app. The only hack I found is to start editing the video, editing the video first before watching it, which will then download the video at full resolution. But what kind of solution is that? Sometimes I watch a 10 to 15 video, or sometimes I watch 10 to 15 video clips in a row, and I don't want to press edit every single time. So basically what this guy is saying is, and I didn't even think about this when we were doing the segment before, is if you have optimized photos turned on your Mac, then you're not even downloading a 4K resolution video to your Mac. You're only downloading one that is 720p or 1080p. So even if you AirPlay those videos from Photos to your TV, which is what I was mentioning last time we talked about this is the only way to get a 4K video from your from iCloud onto your Apple TV 4K and stream it or have it actually show up in 4K, is you have to download it to your Mac. But it can't be the optimized version. It has to be the full resolution version, which means you have to download the full resolution version of that video, wait for it, and then stream it to your Apple TV 4K. Or you have to turn off download optimized photos and just download your entire photo library to your Mac, which will download all the original resolution stuff to your Mac, and then you can AirPlay it to your TV. Neither of which are great options. So again, I go to my original complaint. You're paying for iCloud storage. You're paying for a phone that is capable of recording 4K. You upload all your 4K to the cloud because you're paying for it, which is great because it protects it, right, from being deleted, although that's not always true. And then when you go to watch it on your Apple TV 4K or your Mac, instead of streaming you the video in 4K, which is what Apple should be doing, they're streaming you some crummy 720p or 1080p version of that video. And so your 4K content is protected in the cloud, but you never actually get to enjoy it because there's no way to watch it. And that is a massive sham. I was reading through this whole thread. One of the people in this thread was saying that Apple's engineering team told him that this was a bug, but I don't know if that's true. This has been going on for a while, and the only thing that I can think of, if it's not a bug, is Apple really is just trying to save on server costs. So you're paying them for this service, and then they're cheaping out, and they're storing it in the cloud, but it costs them money to stream that content to you. So instead of paying for 4K content to be streamed, they're only doing it at low resolution, which is a crime, an absolute crime. So I don't want to rehash this whole thing, even though I guess I already did. But the reason I thought this was hilarious is because we just talked about this, and now there's this big thread on Reddit talking about this exact same problem. And this guy doesn't even mention the Apple TV 4K stuff. I mean, that's the even bigger, more confusing part to me, is that you buy something called an Apple TV 4K, and it doesn't stream your content in 4K unless you're streaming it from Apple or from like Disney Plus or from Apple TV Plus. Like, those apps will stream you 4K content, but not the 4K video that you've recorded with your phone. It is truly mind-boggling, and I would love to know why it works this way. Any thoughts, Lewis? I just don't. I never try to do that anyway. So it's not a big deal to me. But I understand the situation. I mean, they want you to. They give you the option to not store the originals, right? Because you don't want to jam up your stupid little SSD with all these massive Well, that's
files.
just it, man. I mean, like, who has the space to store their entire iCloud photo library on their Mac? Because the SSD space is expensive. So most people get 512 or 1 terabyte. I pay to upgrade mine to 2 terabytes, and that's extremely expensive to do. It's like an extra $600 or something crazy. It's worth it for me because I edit a lot, so it's nice to have the extra space. But most people, I would guess, don't do that, and everyone's iCloud photo libraries are only ever continually getting bigger, right? See, once you start uploading stuff to iCloud, your iCloud photo library just continues getting bigger, and so eventually, Apple gets you to pay for iCloud storage because you run out of space on your Mac or you don't want to use all your space on your Mac. And so that's why I say this whole thing's a scam, because you're paying Apple to store it, and they keep making the video files bigger and bigger, the ones that you get from your phone, but you don't actually reap any benefit from storing them in the cloud because you can't enjoy them in 4K. So it's just a way for Apple to continue getting higher and higher subscription fees from you. Streamline saying, yeah, go ahead.
But do you think that most people go and just look at their raw things? I mean, wouldn't it be more likely that if you were actually going to spend a lot of time looking at these videos, that you would download the thing and edit it, put together something, and then you could hold, a copy of that on your device, and then you could stream it whenever you want? I mean, I think that's going to be Apple's response to all this, is like, oh, well, those high resolution, nobody has room on their precious little devices. So we keep that for you. And if you want to use it, you can. You can always download it and edit it or repackage it, whatever. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, especially if you have an Apple TV 4K, because how many people actually edit their videos? I would imagine it's a very small minority of people uploading stuff to the cloud. Like, most people want to just watch the videos that they've already taken. They're not trying to edit anything. So Apple should be streaming you the content at its original resolution. That, to me, is what makes the most sense. It's like, I'm paying you for a phone that can record 4K. I'm paying you for a service that I can upload 4K footage to. Why can I not watch this footage in the resolution that it's recorded in, especially because you keep promoting that the iPhone is able to record these beautiful 4K HDR Dolby Vision videos, but you're giving me no way to enjoy that content. Like, once I record it, I can never see it in the resolution that I've recorded it in, which is the whole purpose of recording it. Why would you record something at 4K if you never want to watch it in 4K? It doesn't make any sense to me. Besides being because Apple wants to line their pockets with more subscriptions and save on server costs. Anyway, I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to go into a rant about this, but this is crazy, man. This is really a strange situation, and I kind of want to look into it more and see, like, is this a bug or is this a feature to save Apple money? I really wish I knew, because this whole thing is so bizarre. I got to write the post. We got to blow this story up. Lewis, we got to blow it up. All right, let's move on. Let's talk
Make
about
that a New Year's resolution.
Oh, yeah, that's going on the list. Let's talk about our favorite stuff of 2022, Lewis. How long have we been going? Only an hour. Now let's really get into the content. I have a whole long list of stuff, Lewis.
I know you're very excited about these here in Ground.
I actually had to edit this thing down. I was like, I can't talk about everything here, but I have a short list of stuff that I really loved this year, and some of it is gadgets, some of it is shows, and I thought I could go through some of this list. But why don't you take us away with your first pick?
All right. Well, I'm gonna
2022.
I'm gonna take one that I know is gonna be on your list. So
That's
I'm
fine.
gonna take it before you get to it.
Go ahead.
Severance.
I knew you were gonna say that.
You knew I was gonna say it. That's you wouldn't know that if you were severed or severanced or whatever.
Oh, well, am I in work mode or am I my
Exactly.
innie or my outie right now? I don't know.
So I would say Severance in particular and Apple TV Plus in general is one of my favorite things this year. And for those who haven't seen it, Severance is a show on Apple TV Plus, which, by the way, you can get a free subscription if you want right now for 2 months if you haven't tried it out, and it's definitely worth it because you can go and watch Severance. Severance is just honestly the first show that I've gotten super excited about in a long time, and I don't mean just that it's good. I mean that it's kind of mind-blowingly creative and entertaining and thought-provoking and just all around good, from the set design to the direction to the writing to the acting, everything. It's the full package of a great show, in my estimation. I mean, it's a kind of a weird. It's weird. It's like a combination between sci-fi and workplace comedy and dystopian nightmare vision of the future, right? If you haven't seen it, it's about people who go to work for this corporation, and they have their brains surgically altered so that when they walk into the workplace, they become like their inner self. They call them innies, right? And that they can't remember the outside world. They're like a whole different person inside the workplace. And then when they leave the office, they go up the elevator, and they're outside person. It's a very interesting concept, and it's really, really well done. And to me, that makes it worth checking out Apple TV Plus. Just that one show, but there's plenty of other great shows on Apple TV Plus. Slow Horses is great. They got the second.
Okay, I haven't checked that one out yet.
I haven't watched the second season yet, but the first season was great. And this is a spy thriller, but it's based around on this series of novels. They're UK spies, and they are sort of like the losers of MI5. And it's not like a bungling spy thing. It's like these are the people who've made bad decisions or screwed up on the job, and they're like relegated to this. It's basically like just the loser file. Like, and Gary Oldman plays the boss of this. His hair's greasy.
Oh yeah.
He looks really disheveled all the time, and he's just really gruff and bitter and like mean to the people, but you could tell he actually likes them, but he's such a curmudgeon. It's pretty good. And it's fast paced, lots of good acting, and lots of good writing and good directing. It's a good show. And each season they've had 2 so far. Well, the second one wraps up this week, actually. And there are only 6 episodes, so it's a short watch, a short binge. But the first season was great. Second season, everything I've heard is it's even better. And there's another show on there called Bad Sisters. I don't think we ever mentioned this on the show.
No, I think I saw this one, but it didn't really look that interesting to me. Sell me on it.
Well, I haven't watched it. I'm mentioning it as another thing that has been really talked about and raved about. And my point is that Apple TV Plus just keeps adding shows. And I mean, now you could go on there and you'd have something to watch every day for the next year, because there's so much content on there. There's a ton of stuff on there I've never gotten around to yet.
Same here.
And it's the stuff I have watched. I mean, some things are not that amazing to me, but things like Severance and Slow Horses definitely recommend. And like I said, Bad Sisters got rave reviews. I've just been waiting for a time to watch that with the wife. That's like a dark comedy about. It's supposed to be really funny too, like mordantly funny. Leander was talking about how much he loved it. His whole family.
Oh, Leander loves it. Oh, now I'm not so
you're
sure.
scared. His whole family loved it.
Oh, the whole Keeney clan liked it.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure if I should watch it. If Leander loved it, it's got to be weird in some bizarre way, some strange British way.
So, and the other thing that I really like that Apple TV Plus has done this past year is they've started adding these limited run offerings. Like when they have, let's say they have a Will Smith movie come out, they might have 4 or 5 movies that Will Smith is in. I don't think they did that with Will Smith, because Will Smith's kind of a hot topic.
Oh, yeah.
And a third rail kind of guy right now. But they did it with Spirited. It's like a riff on the Christmas Carol, right? It's got Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, I think. And so they have some Will Ferrell movies, like oh God, I just forgot the name of it. I swear to God, the COVID took out part of my brain.
Is that one of the ones on Apple TV?
Anchorman is on there for a limited time. So what they do is, just for a limited time, they have these great movies that they're usually archive movies, right? Things that you've seen that might be 10 years old or whatever. But they had Office Space on there, I think, related to Severance. They had right now they got a bunch of spy movies, like the Bourne movies and Mission Impossible movies,
and they're all in like 4K, Dolby Vision. One of the things I love about Apple TV Plus is their codecs are just the best. I mean, all their content just looks terrific, the best of any streaming service that I've seen, and they just give you everything. It's like the Dolby Vision, the Dolby Atmos, like they just throw all that stuff in there. and they don't make you pay more for it, unlike Netflix, where it's like, oh, you can have it in HD for $15 a month. If you want 4K, then you have to pay $20-something per month. It's like, dude, come on. Like, I hate being nickel and dime like that.
Yeah, I mean, and Apple TV Plus came out of the gate with, oh, we're only all originals. That's still what they will say, but now it's not. Now they've made this, I think, very smart decision to put 5 or 10 movies in there at any given time. So you go in this month, there's 5 or 10 movies that, are really good. And so you're not always just like faced with, oh, I got to find something new that I'm not familiar. Sometimes you want to sit down and relive a movie, right? I mean, you're a big fan of rewatching good movies.
Oh yeah,
you do that way more than I do.
Oh yeah, I rewatch movies all the time. Yeah, I just rewatched Sneakers last night with Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier, and a bunch of other great actors.
I've heard of that movie.
Oh man, it's one of my favorite movies.
Is it about life at an Adidas factory? Or?
No, it's definitely not that. It's it's about this like this motley crew of misfits who break into banks to show banks like where their vulnerabilities are, so other people can't steal money from them.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Redford has like this past where he's had interactions with the law before, and he's like hiding from them, and the government finds him, and then they want him to like go on this mission for him in exchange for wiping his record clean, and he has to like go steal like this thing that I don't want to talk too much about because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, even though the movie's like 25 years old. But it's one of my favorite movies of all time, honestly. It's just a really great movie. It's got Dan Aykroyd. I'm trying to think if there's any other notable actors. Joaquin Phoenix, River Phoenix. It's got River Phoenix in it. And it's just got a really good story and great music. It's set in San Francisco, and the music is by, oh man, it's a really famous trumpet player, and I can't remember his name. It escapes me. It's
Miles Davis.
No, he's still alive. Wynton Marsalis.
Oh,
ever heard of him? So
sounds familiar. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Or is he a sax player?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Anyway, where were we going with this? I don't recall.
What happened?
Where am I? Let me just roll back to what you said about Severance. There are shows that are good. There are shows that are great. And then there are shows that are truly special. And I would put this show in that last category. I want to rewatch the whole thing. The premise is unique and really interesting. And the show, every episode gets better than the one before it. And they're building up this really engaging lore in the show that's just it starts off being very scientific, but then you realize it borderlines like religious, and it starts moving in this very strange direction, like this very strange religious direction. And there's all these interesting elements and thought exercises about what it means to be a person and to have your brain split in two. Like now you have like two unique personalities that don't know each other, and how do those things interplay with each other? And there's also this very mysterious element to it. Like what is the deal with this company that has developed this technology? What are they doing at this technology? Because you don't really know why they've developed this technology or what the people are doing who work there, and they don't know either.
Yeah, that part of it really reminds me of like the first season of Lost, which makes me worried because Lost really went off the rails later on.
Yeah.
But it's got that same sort of like, oh my God, what is going on here? And every week it's a new thing that's just like, I mean, it's literally mind blowing. Like, so creative. And by the way, I wouldn't mention anything like, all right, this was created by Ben Stiller. Of all people,
yeah,
he's one of the series directors and creators.
That was really surprising to me. Like when I saw that Ben Stiller was involved, I was so that caught me off guard, and I was like, it can't be the same Ben Stiller. It's definitely got to be a different Ben Stiller.
Nope, it's him.
But it's the same Ben Stiller that everyone knows. Which this is completely different than any content I've ever seen him participate in. It's like, I mean, if What About Mary is at one side of the spectrum, I think this might be at the completely other side. I don't know what that spectrum is measuring, but as far as like differentness, this show is unlike anything I've ever seen from Ben Stiller, and it's some of the best science fiction that I've ever seen.
But it's just got that great humor, that's like, it's not a comedy by any stretch of imagination, but it's got those flashes of, it's part of it is really dreary and scary, right? Like this weird, like, oh my God, what's going on here? But then there's just something that you're like, wow, that is so offbeat and weird. It's
Offbeat and weird. I mean, those are like the perfect words.
It's
like there's so much stuff that happens in this show, and you're like, what? Where did that come from?
It's like the dwarf talking backwards and dancing weird in Twin Peaks. You're just like, whoa, who came up with that?
And how did we wind up here?
Yeah, and we didn't mention the actors either. I mean, Adam Scott plays the lead, but it's also got like John Turturro and Christopher Walken and Patricia Arquette, Zach Cherry, Britt Lower. I mean, some of these people I'm not familiar with their work, but I mean, having Christopher Walken and John Turturro in there, I mean, those guys are fun to watch.
Yeah,
and Turturro, I think in particular, just like.
He's one of my favorite actors,
great.
man.
He's great in this series.
I've never seen him in anything that I didn't like him in. Let me see. I'm gonna try and see if I can pull up a picture of John Turturro, so that those of you who don't know who he is, he played the Jesus in The Big Lebowski, which is one of the best characters of all time. Here we go. I spelled it right. Oh my! I cannot believe I spelled that right.
Wow.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors. I don't know what he's been besides The Big Lebowski, but he's been around forever.
Oh yeah, he's a
Barton Fink, The Good Shepherd, Fading Gigolo, one of your favorites. Oh, he was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Okay. 40 Wings. He was in Batman? Well, never heard of it.
The Batman.
The Batman. Transformers Last Night. Okay, so he's been in a lot of different stuff. Anyway, Lewis, we're totally gonna have to split this into. We're gonna have to go into the new year. There's no way I'm gonna make it through my list in this short amount of time. I mean, I still have stuff I'm gonna talk about here today, but we're gonna have to break this into a part 3 because there's no way we're gonna fit this all.
All right then.
So we'll have to do that. But let me move on to one of my favorite picks of the year. I know a lot of people have been asking me about this, and I meant to talk about it last show. So I'll do it today because I know that people are interested in my opinions about this because it's a newer product and it's expensive, so a lot of people haven't purchased it. And that is this new flagship television from Sony. It is a QD OLED, which I'll talk about what that means here in a second. I got the A95K, so it's like a flagship television from Sony. And the reason that people are interested in this television is because it uses a new OLED technology. So previously there was OLED, and then there was like QD LED, which was a technology that Samsung had developed and was pitching in their TVs. And then there was OLED, and they were different technologies, although they competed in a lot of different ways. QD OLED mixes those two technologies together. And the reason that people are excited about it is because there are a number of benefits that have been touted for QD OLED, namely much better color representation for red and yellow, and also much better color volume. So when you look at a picture, like the colors are represented more accurately, but there's also just a lot more of certain colors, and then better brightness, and then better brightness, color brightness specifically, and that's definitely one of the things that I've noticed. So if I just back off 1,000 feet and just say overall, I'm very happy with my purchase. I bought the 65-inch, which is pretty expensive, but I got it on like a flash sale from B&H Photo Video. Normally this television is $3,200. I got the 65-inch, which is normally like, between $3,000 and $3,500. I got it for $2,500, which is why I bought it, which is a crazy deal. And that was no tax. So that was just all out $2,500. It's a lot of money. So I'm coming from a C1 LG OLED, right? Which I imagine if you're into televisions, you know what that is. And you're probably wondering if the upgrade is worth it. I will say it is worth the upgrade, but only barely. Like, if I could just put a percentage on how much better the Sony is over the C1 OLED, I would say it's like 20% better. So I was expecting it to be. For it to be a lot brighter. It's brighter. It's noticeably brighter, but it's not as bright as I was hoping for. And the QD OLED benefits, like the larger color volumes, the brightness of colors, it is more subtle than I thought it was going to be. You definitely notice it, but it's not jump off the screen, slap you in the face, obvious as much as I thought it was going to be. But you definitely notice it in content. Like when I've been watching a lot of, I've been rewatching The Mandalorian, and the thing that I've noticed is like lightsabers way brighter, and sometimes they're so bright it almost hurts your eyes. Now that's cool because OLED, one of the biggest weaknesses of OLEDs is that they don't get very bright, and this one
doesn't burn your eyes.
It burns your retinas, and you just see the lightsabers there for days after you're done watching the content. But as a serious connoisseur of cinematography, I appreciate that. But where I've really noticed the biggest difference is in the brightness of colors, and then like the representation of reds and yellows. So like there are certain scenes that you watch where before they would just kind of look gray if they were darker, or like dark blue, or they would look really, if they were bright, they would just look very bright white, like a sunset or something. And on this TV, the reason that people are touting QD OLED as like a really great technology is because now you get really bright colors. So instead of having a sunset that's like really white and bright, the color will be orange still, but it's a very bright orange. So it looks way more realistic, and then there's way more just colors on the screen. And then also like LEDs and helmets or in ships, like if you're in the Millennium Falcon and you see all the controls in front of you, like all the little LEDs that are present on the dashboard now they just pop off the screen. And they're not just like white. They're really bright red, really bright green, really bright all the colors. So with traditional OLEDs, when things get really bright, you kind of lose some of that color information. And with the QD OLED, you get the brightness and you get the color. So things just leap off the screen, like the little details in the helmets that the Mandalorian wears, and like the other different technology that they use in Star Wars with all the LEDs all over them. You can see every little blinking light, and they have like these rich colors on them, but they're also still very bright. And then the dark colors have a lot more color information too. Like instead of just being like dark gray or dark blue, you can see color variation between the darkness now. So it will fade from like a light blue down to like a black. So those are the things that I've noticed. And then also just the brightness in general is way higher. And then the other thing, and this is true of, Sony televisions in general, is like the motion on the Sony is just unmatched. With my LG C1 OLED, the picture would sometimes stutter. It would be like, bup, 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 and it just didn't look good. You can turn on, there's motion processing that you can turn on with OLEDs, which mitigate that kind of issue. But the problem with that is it makes everything have like a soap opera effect, which I hate. So it makes everything look like hyper realistic. So instead of seeing like when you see a character running across the screen, it looks like a person instead of like a movie person. I don't know how else I can describe that. Have you ever seen have you ever watched like a soap opera and everything looks hyper real? You know what I'm talking about, Lewis?
Well, I mean, a soap opera in particular. I mean, when I was growing up,
okay.
yeah.
The reason they call it a soap opera effect is because soap operas are filmed in very high frame rates, and when you film things in high frame rates, it makes them it removes the cinematic element and it makes it look just like a real person.
Why would they film soap operas at high frame rates?
I don't know why they do that. Maybe to make it look hyper realistic, and in movies they're filmed in 24 frames per second for a reason. It's because it adds like a dreamy, imaginary effect. So it doesn't look real. It looks like a movie. And when you increase the frame rates, I think to 60 frames per second, it just looks way too realistic. It looks like a person standing there acting instead of a character.
Oh, well,
in a movie.
yeah. So this is my problem with like the Hobbit movies when they were talking about they were releasing those in 4K or something,
and
right?
They did them at 4K 60, which I think was a huge error.
Fake as could be. Like the only thing that looked real was the stuff underground where it was complete CGI.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So look, it's 6 guys standing in a field.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I know what you're talking about. It's terrible. Does not make you doesn't draw you in. It doesn't have that cinematic effect.
It doesn't have the cinematic effect. So the reason I mention that is because I usually turn off all those motion processing features because I hate them. And with the Sony, I don't even feel like you need them because it does motion so well, and Sony's known for doing motion really well. So the motion just looks really buttery and smooth, and there's no like staggering going across the screen, like the jumping that happens. So there's that as well. And then also, interestingly enough, like this TV, I have it connected to my HomePods, but it uses the screen. It has some technology where it uses the screen itself as a speaker by like vibrating the screen or something. I'm not sure exactly how it works, and it actually has pretty decent sound. So it has a bunch of gimmicky features too. Like it has this camera that you can mount to it, and you can use like motion controls to control the television, which don't work well, and also are way more effort than just using a remote control. It also runs Android TV. Wow, what a POS Android TV is! Just the worst. Like if you have an Apple TV, it truly is the best that there is. Like it's buttery smooth, it's easy to use, it's pleasant to look at. And all these other TV OSs, like I think LG's is probably the second best because it's smoother than Android TV. And on the LG C1 and C2 and the G1 and the G2, all the new OLEDs, they have like a emotional control. It's like a Wii remote where you can like.
You said emotional.
Well, it's that too. Don't even get it going. You'll never be able to change the channels. It will just sit there weeping in your hand. So you can like use it as like a pointer to things on the screen, which is really kind of handy. But Android TV, which comes on the A95K, it's awful, man. It's jumpy and laggy, and it looks like poop. It just looks terrible.
Wow.
Like I would never use one of these built-in TV OSs unless I had to. Really terrific remote on the Sony too. It's like minimalist and backlit. So I absolutely love this TV. I mean, it's a splurge for sure. I think that if you had an LG C1 or a C2, you'd probably be pretty happy. I think side by side, you'll definitely notice differences. And having this TV in a room without the OLED, I definitely even on its own, I noticed the differences in color volume and color brightness. Like by far, those are my favorite features. Someone was asking me if this TV is good in a bright room. No, I wouldn't use this TV in a bright room. OLEDs continue to have an issue with brightness. Like this TV shines when you dim the lights and watch it in like a movie theater type room. So can you see it during the day? Yeah, you can. But if you want something that really has terrific specular highlights, like you probably need like a LED TV. One of the Samsungs probably. And I would say that's probably one of my biggest letdowns with this TV is I thought the specular highlights, and by specular highlights I mean the bright parts of the screen, with TVs that are backlit by LEDs, especially like mini LEDs, the bright parts like just jump off the screen. Like they're super duper bright. And this screen gets bright, but it doesn't get that bright, unfortunately. I thought it was going to be more like an LED TV. It's not. It's probably like 15 to 20% better, and this is just me eyeballing it, than a normal OLED. And normal OLEDs don't get that bright, so it's still an OLED. And it's a much better OLED, and it has probably the best picture that I've ever seen, but we're not quite at a place where it gets as bright as something like I'm trying to think of a good Samsung television that is just like a QN90A or the QN90B or something, which are Samsung's flagship LED TVs. Like those things get way brighter than this does, and the bright parts of the screen really pop off the screen because the LED can just get so much brighter than OLED can. There you go. Would you buy it for $3,200? Not a chance. Absolutely not a chance. I bought mine, so I bought my 65-inch for $2,500. That is at the upper threshold of what I would consider reasonable for this TV. Like I would not spend any more than $2,500 for it. I definitely wouldn't spend $3,000. I absolutely would not spend $3,500 on it or $3,200. I would wait for it to go on sale. And again, I got mine for $2,500, including tax. So I don't think I would pay more than that for it. Like, honestly, if you're looking for OLED, I would go with the LG C2. I mean, you can get a C2 65-inch for like $1,600. And is it going to have the same level of color volume? No, but it's going to be close. Well, maybe not close for color volume and not for color brightness. But as far as brightness goes and overall image quality, I would say it's definitely not. It's definitely, it would be better to spend $1,600 and get like 90% of the way there as opposed to, you know, $3,000 and get all the bells and whistles unless you got the green. If you're rolling like Leander Caney, you got the green, you got that Cultimac money just pouring in every month, then get whatever one you want. You know, buy whatever you want. But I'm certainly enjoying it so far. I mean, like I said, it's the best image quality that I've ever seen. That sale that I got on it lasted like 5 hours and it was over.
Jeez. An actual flash sale.
It was an actual flash sale. Like, I saw it pop up and everyone on the thread was like, if you want this, you better buy it right now because this is not going to last long. And I have not seen it drop to that price since. Lewis, we got a lot of stuff left to talk about. But I think we're going to have to go ahead and wrap it up there. As you can tell, my voice is still not back to 100%. I'm starting to lose it already.
Wow.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. But we'll finish the rest of the list next week because I don't think there's going to be very much Apple news, and we both got picks left to pitch. So let's continue on with part 3 next week. That's all the Cultcast we have for you guys this week. But if you want the fun to continue, we're both on the new Twitter, duking it out. I just punched a guy out earlier today. We're having a great time.
Words of violence, you know.
Yeah, I know. I verbally punched him out. He's at the hospital right now. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the Cultcast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Cultcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. And we will see you guys next year.
Wow.
See you guys next year. Wow. I did that on the fly. Are you not impressed that I
didn't see it coming?
I came up with that so quick. Lewis, we barely made it through our list at all. Did I not call that? I said no Apple news. We gotta just do our lists. That's it.
Okay, well.
It's okay. Next week we're really gonna get it done, I think.
It's funny how both weeks your voice crapped out right at the very end.
I know. It got me. It got my larynx. Whatever I had, it got my larynx. Oh, man.
Maybe it's time for a bonus health update. I hear the people love it.
Special episode? Airfon's throat condition. Special episode. Let's get the Cult Club re-going. Get that Patreon money. They're gonna pile in for that. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, I barely made it. Oh, man.